Hello, I'm Ron, and today we're going to be looking at this thing. Yeah, it looks a lot like the other thing. I mean, this is a USB camera module, megapixel USB camera. It's an ELP, just like the other ELP that we did, only this one is a 16 megapixel. That's the word, megapixel. This one is a 16 megapixel camera. So what makes it special? Hold on a second. This camera has 16 megapixels. Oh my God, isn't that wonderful? See, it says that right there. You could almost read it. There it is, 16 megapixels. And yet, we're just going to cut to the chase. We're kind of disappointed by it. Yeah, we got this because, well, we have the regular 2 megapixel variety, and it works pretty good. But we decided we wanted a second one, and there are some problems with Windows, and one of them is that if you have 2 identical cameras, unless they have separate IDs, you know, the actual well, not the machine ID, but there's the device name or the device ID has got to actually be different. And unfortunately, a web camera is a web camera is a web camera unless it's a different model. And they all have the same device ID. So we went and got the 16 megapixel. That's the only reason. We didn't want to try the fact that it had 16 megapixels and that it'd be a bigger screen and that we'd be able to see more detail and, you know, stuff like that. Well, okay, so yeah, we did try all that. And as it turns out, it's not really what it's cut out to be. So this camera is $79 and it claims to be 16 megapixels, which it actually is, and 180 degrees, which it is pretty darn close if it isn't. And yeah, so we expected a lot out of this. I know, what do you expect for $80? Well, technically, you kind of expect stuff to work. And here's our main problem. See, I will pop over here, scroll down, and look at the frame rates. So again, that's true. Plug and play. All right, so here's the nitty-gritty, right? We don't really care about getting all the way up to this high resolution. It's only 10 frames per second. Yeah, 10 frames per second. And the 248 by 1536, that's supposed to be 30 frames per second. It's not. Well, it's very blurry, and we're not sure if this is a problem with the camera itself or the USB 2.0 or if it's a Windows thing. But it's probably a Windows thing. Let's go to video capture, and we're going to pick the 16 megapixel camera and deactivated, activated. You see, we can't even see it there because if we go into Windows, let's discard all this and close this. Go into our settings, and then we go to cameras, manage cameras. Didn't mean for this to be a how to do stuff with your camera video, but we can see here 16 megapixel camera. It's being used by something else, blah blah blah. And you see we have advanced camera options down here, And if we go here and there's a multiple apps, allow multiple apps to use the camera, it's been turned off. And the reason why is because when we turn that on, we suddenly have only 1920 by 1080. And if we leave that off and we go into our camera settings in OBS, double click on you and pick the 16 megapixel camera. And now we're going to go to resolution. And you see we have all these options. Well, they don't show up when you have that advanced options, allow multiple apps to use your camera thing. So I'm wondering if there's some kind of thing going on with the driver and Windows 11 not talking to each other properly. Because, well, here's what you get. Let me go to show you the OBS that we're using right now. Okay, here we are. We're back. And we'll have to blur out Mr. R's face over here. But that's okay. What we are seeing right now is the top half over here, the upper half. That is, of course, one camera. That is our regular elp16. And, of course, this one down here, that one is our 16 megapixel camera. So why do we have it that way instead of the other way? Well, okay, Mr. R's going to wave. All right, and Mr. R is going to show you his fingers up close. See how there's a little bit of blurring there? Okay, now Mr. R is going to show you his fingers down here. Look at how much blurring is happening. Okay, this is simple movement. And you see how much that's blurring. That is not 30 frames per second. That is much lower than 30 frames per second. And we've even got that down to 1080p down there instead of the high res, because there's no point in having the high res. The frame rate's just as ugly, and if you're trying to go for a high detail using the high res, all you're going to get is very close-up blur. Now, again, we don't know if this is because of a driver, if it's because Windows 11 is stupid, or if there's just something wrong with the way the camera is designed. We don't know, but we can't really tell you that it's a good idea to go spend $75 on a high-definition camera that's going to give you blur if you're using Windows 11. So, yeah, that's that. That's blurry. This is not. Nowhere near. So, yeah, just can't, we don't buy this if you're going to do actual video. And in fact, we thought that maybe we can get away with doing it because we're just using it to capture motion for my avatar. Well, the problem is Mr. R's lips move. And they're not always slow. And what happens is if you lose details, then what happens is that well, sometimes my mouth doesn't work properly. Well, it doesn't do that anyway, but sometimes my avatar doesn't have a mouth movement that's appropriate to the sound that's coming out of my mouth. So it's kind of pointless to be using this camera for anything that requires fine detail when everything's blurry. Well, motion's blurry. You can see the pictures fairly clear, but as soon as you start moving, you get the fuzzies, which is fine for gross movement, like, you know, Mr. R moving his legs and me moving my legs in response. but not so good when you gotta do fine details. So that's that. I wanted to make a longer video about this, about different frame rates and about different recording formats or video formats and stuff like that, but I just can't. I really can't do that. I can't spend that much time on this. So hopefully this gives you some idea about this camera. If you want to try doing this on Linux, it might work. I don't know. All right. I hope you enjoyed this video. I hope it was educational and helpful for things you want to do. And yeah, unless you have a very specific purpose, don't buy this camera. I wish I could have said something different, but I can't. Hopefully, somewhere in the near future, we figure out a way to be able to use more of them without that stupid problem with the Windows hardware IDs. That's the word. Yeah. So until then, I hope you have a great day, a great evening, whatever time it is, wherever you are. And I hope to see you again real soon. So until then, bye.